I think the key to what we're discussing this week is that there needs to be equal value. And I appreciated the example in the text that you also shared where it compared a square and a triangle, and the fact that they can have the same equivalents, but they are not the exact same shape. And I just think that's a really good analogy that we can use when trying to think through this equivalency theory. I've been thinking a lot about, as I was doing this discussion board, about our group project that we're doing in Education 633. And I'm just wondering if some of the frustration that we've had might come back to the fact that the group project may not be the best situation and may not be following and in alignment with this theory, the equivalency theory. I think some of the issues that we had to kind of deal with. One was the fact, well, we all have busy schedules. We are on different time commitments. Some of us have day jobs, some have other commitments in the evenings, and it was just very difficult to get together and fully be able to communicate and work out problems that came along the way, like I think we would have been able to if we were in a classroom setting, meeting each week. We would be with each other during the class time. Logistically, if we lived in the same town, even if we weren't working on it all the time in the classroom, we could get together easier and to work on the project. So I think that that's one of the issues. I mean, we were not even on the same time zone. And I have a mental block. I re-recorded because I called Harold. I called him Howard in the first one, so I'm retaping. Harold, last Friday, he had to take off work. He lives in Oregon, and it was 5 o'clock for, in our time zone for most of the people in the class, but for him, it was 2 o'clock. And so he had to take off work to be a part of the WebEx. Well, I think we did Skype that night. But regardless, when we got together, and that just seemed like it wasn't sensitive to his situation, because it wasn't even, I didn't feel like the best use of our time. We had technology issues, and some of the time we couldn't hear the projects that were being presented to make comments, and so that was one issue. And then another issue that I felt was just where we are in life. If it was maybe high school or elementary, maybe even in undergraduate, but most of the graduates do have jobs. I would say many, if not all, have family responsibilities because Christ is our foundation. We have commitments at church, and so on and so on and so on. And I just personally felt I would have gotten more out of the project if it had not been a group project. There's also the issue that in my case, I had little to no technology experience as far as some of the new things that I've been doing in both my classes. Whereas, once again, Harold, that's his forte. And so he was able to just, whip off things, I think, at the top of his head, do things quickly, where in my case, to accomplish the same goal, I had to spend hours and hours and hours because I was learning each thing new for the first time. So I don't know, that's just my take, that maybe that is a particular class that needs to be looked at a little more thoroughly, and maybe take into consideration some of the individuality of students, their abilities coming into the class, but also where they live and how their schedules affect a group project. But in saying that too, I did enjoy learning and using Skype and WebEx because it is a necessity in a group project like this. So anyway, I hope your knee is feeling better, and I have to be honest, it is a little sad that this will be probably the last time I have to make comments on your post. So I will, I'm sure, talk to you this weekend as we finish up our Education 633 project.